buy or sell on eBay, then you might want to listen up, because the company says it may have been the victim to one of the worst cyber attacks in history. The US firm is making all its customers change their passwords. The security breach actually happened back in late February, early March, but it's only just come to light. eBay currently has 128 million registered users worldwide. Let's speak to Mike Gillespie, who runs the security firm Advent IM. Mike, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
So, I'm very well, thank you. Interesting that this happened late February, early March, and we're only getting to know about it now. That's unusual, surely, is it?
It's only unusual if the company didn't have appropriate monitoring mechanisms in place to detect the attack at which point at which it's happened, which is what's happened here. So they only actually found out about it a few weeks ago when they ran some forensic checks on their systems. And that's part of the problem, is that the attackers have had that data now for some months before anybody has known that the data was compromised.
And do we know what sort of data they would have, and how that might put customers at risk?
Well, certainly from what we've seen, the claim is that the passwords were encrypted, although we don't know what standard of encryption, so it is possible to break encryption if it's not of a high enough standard. But there's also people's names, addresses, contact details. In fact, everything that a criminal would need to be able to start to build a identity theft program.
And any payment details as well, then, that may have been used on eBay?
At the moment, they're saying there's no financial information relating to that, but the concern here is that with the personal information that we've got, they say has been compromised, that a criminal could start to build a profile and cross-link that with other information that's publicly available from Facebook and business tools like LinkedIn, and start to build up an identity which would then enable them to identify other systems that user might be a user of. Users quite often will use the same username and password for multiple systems, including their work systems, and then the criminals will start trying to attack those as well.
So you could be a victim of identity fraud as a result of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's everything a criminal needs here to start building up a profile of, well, millions of individuals and committing fraud using all of their identities. Then the criminal walks away and the individual is left trying to prove it was never them.
Well, you would expect, surely, a company like eBay to have enough monitoring in place, given the nature of its business. Is it surprising that it seems to have fallen short here?
I would expect any e-commerce organisation, no matter how large, but certainly somebody like eBay, to have a comprehensive protective monitoring program in place. To not have detected that this attack took place is phenomenal. What's more interesting, I think, is when you look at how the attack happened, and that is because one of the eBay employees fell foul of a spear phishing attack, which is when you get sent one of these emails that looks plausible, says please click on this link to validate yourself. Somebody has done that, that's allowed malware to be installed, and the attackers then had an open front door. So
that sounds like staff aren't very well trained.
Absolutely, it entirely comes down to a lack of staff education.
And if this has happened to someone and you do as eBay are advising now, and you change your password, is that enough now to make sure that your details are secure again?
Only on eBay. If a user has got the same username and password on any other account, they need to get online and start changing those as well. And they really need to be aware of any suspicious activity on any other accounts that they've got.
Really? So what sort of advice would you give to people when it comes to passwords? Because, as you said, I know people who tend to use the same password over and over again. So is there something, without having to use, umpteen different passwords, which you might never be able to remember, what should you do? What sort of tips do you have?
Well, we can use some quite simple techniques for choosing passwords that end up with quite a complicated password, but are easy to remember. So think of a favourite song that you have, and then take the first couple of letters from each of the words in the title of the song. You end up with what looks like a random series of characters, but it makes sense to you.
Okay, well, good advice. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning. Mike Gillespie, who runs the security firm Advent IM. Coming up 16...